Listen to me carefully. Somewhere close to you, at work, in your social circle, in your family, there is a person for whom everything comes easily. He never apologizes, rarely loses, and gets what he wants as though the rules exist for everyone else but him. You feel it, that sensation of being outplayed without any particular effort being made. The brutal truth is this: that person is probably no smarter than you, no harder working, and no better. He is simply wired differently. Psychologists call it the Dark Triad, 3 personality traits that combined give their bearer an almost predatory advantage in social environments: Narcissism, Machiavellianism, and Psychopathy. Not in the clinical destructive sense, but in that cold, functional variant that appears in boardrooms, negotiations, and personal relationships far more often than is commonly acknowledged. We are not going to romanticize these traits, and we are not going to urge you to become a manipulator. We are going to do something far more valuable: understand the mechanics, because the one who sees the game is no longer the game's victim. Component 1. Narcissism, the weapon of confidence. When most people hear the word narcissism, they picture a self-absorbed person who talks only about himself and demands constant admiration. But that is a caricature. Functional narcissism is something entirely different. It is an unshakable inner conviction of one's own significance, a conviction that does not require external validation, yet skillfully exploits it when available. A narcissist with high functional intelligence walks into a room, and before uttering a single word, he is already controlling the space, not because he speaks loudly or dresses well, but because his behavior transmits one clear signal: my presence here is an event. People read this at the level of instinct. They begin to lean in, to want to impress him, to seek his approval. The mechanics here are simple and merciless. The human brain is evolutionarily calibrated for hierarchy. We automatically assess who dominates the group and adjust our behavior accordingly. The narcissist gives the brain an unambiguous answer before any interaction has even begun, and the brain, without resistance, accepts his position as a given. But here's what is essential to understand. This same mechanism works against the narcissist the moment he loses control of the narrative. His Achilles heel is the wounded ego. An experienced observer knows it is enough to subtly call his exceptionalism into question, not head-on but obliquely through comparison with someone above him, and the cold machine glitches. Understanding this mechanism, you stop blindly reacting to someone else's confidence and begin to see what lies behind it. Component 2. Machiavellianism, the architecture of influence. The Machiavellian is a strategist, a person who looks at any social situation the way a chess player looks at the board, not through the lens of emotion, but through the lens of positions, moves, and long-term consequences. For him, lies and truth are tools, not moral categories. He uses whichever tool is more effective in the moment. In a professional environment, such a person builds coalitions masterfully. He never attacks an enemy directly, he patiently isolates them, stripping away allies, resources, and information. He knows how to say one thing, think another, and do a third, experiencing no inner conflict in the process. His smile is a mask, and the mask is a weapon. Watch him in negotiations. He never reveals his true position immediately. He lets the other side speak first, accumulating information. He makes small concessions on insignificant matters, creating an illusion of flexibility, then holds his ground firmly where it truly matters. He is skilled at creating the sense that a decision was made by you, even though he was guiding every step you took from the very beginning. The Machiavellian's key vulnerability is his dependence on information and long-term schemes. He handles chaos and unpredictability poorly. A person who acts non-linearly, is emotionally inconsistent, or deliberately creates informational noise pushes the Machiavellian out of his comfort zone. The strategist is helpless when there are no stable rules of the game. Component 3. Psychopathy. Power without remorse. The psychopath in the functional sense is a person with suppressed empathy and a high threshold for fear. He does not experience anxiety before a presentation, feels no remorse after a hard decision, and does not lose sleep because someone was offended by him. This is not a monster from a horror film. This is your colleague who calmly delivers bad news, makes unpopular decisions, and has no need to be liked. In a crisis, this is precisely the person who proves most valuable. While others panic, freeze, or seek emotional support, the functional psychopath assesses the situation, makes a decision, and acts. His absence of fear is perceived by those around him as composed leadership, and his absence of empathy allows him to make hard strategic moves that others postpone out of social discomfort. His weakness lies in boredom. Monotony, routine, predictability, all of this erodes his engagement and effectiveness. He seeks stimulation, risk, novelty, power. This is precisely why functional psychopaths appear disproportionately often in extreme professions: surgery, special forces, top-level management, trading. The environment that kills others is optimal for them. The synergy of the triad, when three traits work together. Individually, each of these traits already confers an advantage, but in combination, they create something qualitatively different. A person who is simultaneously convinced of his own exceptionalism, strategically calculates every interaction, and experiences no emotional breaking when making hard decisions. This personality type is unconsciously perceived by those around him as a leader, not because he's kinder or smarter, but because he functions differently. Research shows that individuals with high Dark Triad scores achieve higher social status on average, especially in competitive environments. But the same research documents a high price: unstable relationships, burnout, legal risks, and, in the long run, social isolation. A predator that has consumed all the prey in its territory ultimately ends up alone. What this means for you. Understanding the Dark Triad is not a manual for application. It is a map of the terrain. When someone uses narcissistic dominance, you see the mechanics, not the magic. When someone constructs a Machiavellian scheme against you, you notice the signals. When someone uses cold composure as an instrument of pressure, you do not mistake it for strength. You understand what lies behind it. Moreover, you can consciously borrow individual elements. More confidence in your own value without narcissistic fragility. More strategic thinking without manipulative dishonesty. More emotional resilience in crisis without losing your humanity. This is not the Dark Triad. This is its controlled, ethical version. And this is precisely what distinguishes those who manage circumstances from those who are managed by them. Remember the essential point. The Dark Triad is not dangerous because it is evil. It is dangerous because it is invisible to those who do not know what to look for. Now you know.